Morning, Toilet Talk fans. Welcome to another episode of Toilet Talk. It's Saturday, July 7th.
No, Thursday.
Wow, never
It
mind.
just feels like a Saturday.
Yes, it does. Thursday, July 7th, 2022. Welcome to Toilet Talk with Dina. And there's our lovely Toilet Talk host, Dina.
Yes, I'm here. Hello. I think I'm here. We decided we had to do this for a few reasons, because we do this.
Posterity's sake, or posterior's sake.
Posterior's, that'll go down in the annals of history right there. Our posterity's sake, yeah. Posterior. Yeah, because we haven't done one in a while, and that's kind of multifold, in part because we have not had our brains with us, because we don't have COVID, and it started with me 2.5 years of avoiding and evading the big C, and then I got hit with it. I'm on day 12 since having symptoms, so just mild, very mild case, very mild, very grateful. All praise the gods of Omicron versus Delta that we are in this season, this chapter, versus all former ones. So I cannot complain about my symptoms, except that I've been fuzzy-headed, and I've had vertigo come back. You'll have to see a previous vlog that I did on vestibular neuritis, and nobody like write in the comments, oh, have you tried the Epley maneuver? Because yeah, that's like, yeah,
Old news.
Old news. Yeah, you can go listen to all about vestibular neuritis if you want to scroll down the videos. But I gave it to Robin. It's what he gets for sleep.
COVID, not vestibular neuritis.
Yeah, I gave him COVID. He was sleeping with me. If you sleep with a sick woman, you're gonna get it. So let that be a lesson to you all. And I don't know what day he's on, but that stinker, he got it even milder than I had it. He was still going. I'm like, I'm just sitting. I have sat for more than a week. I went for a walk yesterday for the first time in over a week, and even after childbirth 8 times and 2 major surgeries, I didn't wait a whole week before getting back out there and running and walking and weightlifting and all that stuff. So gave myself a week off. But we decided that while we're in this not quite here state, that we should do a toilet talk.
I have no idea what we're doing a toilet talk about, but we're going to do a toilet talk. Gosh darn it, yeah, yes we are.
Well, one of our therapies for COVID has been a bit of cannabis imbibing, and I'm currently sober.
You're gonna rat me out.
I'm gonna rat you out. Robin did enjoy a therapeutic hit of the plant medicine known as cannabis this morning. We're in Oregon where it's legal, and it should be legal everywhere because the earth offers this, and we'll probably end up doing a talk about the therapeutic and responsible and even ceremonial use of using cannabis intentionally for shadow work and growth and healing and all of that. All that stuff. But meanwhile, one of the things that came up for me this morning while we were sitting here was personality typing. You've probably all heard of Myers-Briggs.
Mine does about 60 words a minute.
Your personality typing does 60 words per minute. Yes, he's laughing while he's holding the phone, which is why I'm going up and down like that.
It's kind of like the old Star Treks, where they, did the whole, action scenes by, Q and going, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yes. Oh, God. So Myers-Briggs is one personality indicator type that most people have heard of, loosely based on Jungian theory, where you're introverted or you're extroverted, you're intuitive or you're sensing, you are feeling or thinking, you are judging or perceiving. Those are the sort of.
And then there's like a fifth thing now too. They've upgraded their Myers.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I did not get the memo on the upgrade of the MBTI. And that's all fascinating. I love anything to do with personality typing. I'm always the type that gets off on personality typing. And another type that I've enjoyed learning about is the Enneagram, which is more ancient, a little
based
more
in
in depth.
Sufism.
Yeah, it's based on Sufi wisdom. Joseph Campbell, Carl Jung, many others have been intrigued by it and added to it. And it's got 9 different types, and then each type, number 1 through 9, will lean in one direction or the other next to its neighbors, the 2 adjacent numbers. And then those are the wings, or you can be balanced. And then there's the instinctive variant, which has to do with in what conditions do you naturally gravitate toward and thrive in. So there's the self-preservationalist, which means you prefer solitude. There's the sexual, which means that you prefer one-on-one dynamics. And then there's the social, which means you prefer the group. And anyway, it's a fascinating system, and Robin and I have become somewhat familiar with it, not in depth, but for our own purposes, to understand ourselves and the ways in which we relate. And then we discovered that we are among the most common pairings, where there's a male 9, Robin, and a female 4, me. And for some reason, those 2 types tend to gravitate toward each other more frequently than any other coupling, and there are really good reasons for that. And so we often like to look at how each of us responds to something similarly. Where are our uniquenesses? Where are our similarities? Where's the overlap, and where's the extraneous stuff that helps us to see something from a different perspective? So one of the things I was wondering this morning is, are our personality types from nature? Are we born with them? Or are they from nurture, meaning we develop them? Are they something we're hardwired with, we're born with? Or are they shaped? Are they compensational for trauma in early childhood and unresolved issues? Some of both, I don't know. So your turn to say something, because I'm doing all the talking here.
I don't think there's a problem with that. I'm good with you doing all the talking at the moment. Sorry, it's just,
Not the first time I've taken over
monopolized
with the talking.
conversation. No.
Yeah, I'm that type. I'm that type. So Robin was asking me questions about whether or not my way of going through life is kind of like this, a roller coaster.
Well, we all have that. We all have cyclical nature in our emotional. Yeah.
And the type 4, the type that I am, gets off on drama, melodrama, gets off on
sometimes not so melodrama.
Intense. We are highly emotionally intense. We like to dive deep. We are highly creative, expressive, and we tend toward the morose and melancholic. So we can really enjoy a good, deep, depressive dive into the intensity of our sad emotions.
It's actually interesting, because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, she's using the we, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm kind of like in the we, and like, kind of like just assuming that I'm part of the we, and then I realize she's talking about only 4s, but then again, I get to be a 9, and 9s have the distinct privilege and pleasure of being able to take on any of the aspects that we want to of any of the other personalities.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to get in touch with this, like, we that is like the melodramatic, and like,
you're feeling your 4ness.
I'm feeling my.
May the 4s be with you.
Yes. Anyway, so.
It's true. 9s are the universal type. They're called the peacemaker, whereas the 4 is called the individualist. So 9s really enjoy tranquility and homeostasis and peace. and they can be placid. And the downside to nines can be that they become lethargic, um, languid, as we were talking about earlier. They can go with the flow to the point that they don't engage. They can shut down, which is the opposite. The four is like in there, engaging with everything. So there's like a balancing effect that happens here. Fours can bring out the best of a nine, and nines can help fours to calm down and be more at peace with whatever the reality is. The amazing thing about the nines is that they can see something from all different perspectives. If we have like a gem of truth right here that's cut with countless facets, the nine likes to see things from all. They're shapeshifters, so you can see how that would be a benefit for the nine themselves, but also for people around them. They tend to help people feel at home, comfortable, at ease, and self-accepting, because nines tend to be very accepting of others. One of the downsides, because all the types have the upside and the downside, one of the weaknesses of the nine can be a people-pleasing element, wanting everyone to be at peace, to be happy, and they sometimes forget who they are and what do they need and what do they want. Whereas fours, we're the opposite. We're like, I know who I am and what I want, and this is me, and we're very opinionated about who we are and what we want, and we can kind of be adamant about that, and we can project our stuff onto others and imagine everybody feels the same way we do, and we become shocked to realize, oh wait, there's other people out there, and they have feelings too, they have perspectives too. So we play off each other often, and it's in knowing each other and our types and our tendencies and the levels of health. We can call each other out on what's going on, not like an accusatory thing, like you're just being a nine, but
well, sometimes.
Once. No, we do have our there's like 9 different levels of health within each.
For a minute, I thought you said hell. 9 different levels of hell.
Yes.
We're going into Dante's Inferno now.
Yes, well, among the fours, we do have our levels of hell. That would be, we should write that book. The levels of heaven and hell within each type.
Yeah. Not only can and do we call each other out, not only in a playful way and a serious way, but we also have the distinct advantage of learning from one another. For instance, as a nine, she was talking about the whole people-pleasing dynamic. It ends up setting me up for not being very assertive about my own beliefs, wants, needs, desires, that sort of thing. But being with a four, at least in this case, what I've learned is I've learned how to be more assertive, how to actually embrace my own beliefs, my own wants, my own needs, and she's taught me how to do that by showing me what that looks like. She's modeled it for me, so it's been really helpful in my case, doing the work that I need to do because of what she's offered, and I think that she's probably had some of those similar experiences where my nineness has mellowed a few of her things here and there.
Well, the beautiful thing that a 9 offers a 4. We fours can spiral downward into the abyss. We can start to believe that whatever we're experiencing, because it's so overwhelming, that this is it. We are never moving out of this particular emotional tsunami, this overwhelm. We can feel like we're drowning in it and that we'll never escape. And if there's a light at the end of the tunnel, it's a train heading right at us and we're stuck. We can really give ourselves the narrative of doom and gloom. And what a 9 does, what Robin has done for me, is to help me catch those things, to give me a different perspective, to remind me of the tools I already know that have become eclipsed by whatever I'm currently feeling. And he reminds me of the bigger picture. One of the most helpful things he's ever said to me is, I've seen you here before, and you handled it before, and you got out of it. So he's learned to not fix it, which the unhealthy part of me wants. I want a savior, I want a rescuer, I want a fixer. And being a people pleaser, see, our unhealthy aspects can play together, right? And then that becomes a codependent yuck mess. But when he reminds me, you've been here before, I trust you, I believe in you, and I can rely on his belief of me when I can't access my own. In that moment, it's there, it's eclipsed. And that way I can, he like marks the territory and reminds me of who I am in the bigger picture. He doesn't lose sight of the bigger picture, whereas a 4, I can get that tunnel vision and lose it. So it's really, really helpful. Helps me to have like a rock of sanity to hang on to when I'm being tossed around in my own storm.
Yeah, it's actually it's interesting too because she doesn't like being where she ends up, and she knows she's capable of other things, and is frustrated oftentimes by the fact that she can't get back there because she's a Libra.
Oh.
So the Libra and the 4, especially the melancholy 4, yeah, they don't play well together.
Oh, so I asked for a doozy in this personality. Which brings into mind the question we were talking about earlier when I was wondering, is it nature or nurture? My own belief system, and it's transient, it's tweakable, it's not, I don't cling to my beliefs.
As long as it's not twerkable.
I'm not allowed to twerk. My children have told me I am not allowed ever again to twerk. All it took was trying one time in Dollar Tree, and they said, Mom, never do that again. Never. So I don't twerk. But I'm missing the butt hinge that allows the twerking to happen. I don't have this joint in my butt. It's just not there, in case you're wondering. What the heck was I saying? I know it was not that. The nature and nurture. So my belief system is that I am me, but I'm not just me. And we've talked about this in other episodes. In my awareness, I am a part of the all. I'm an individuated soul, and I believe I've had many different lifetimes, whether they're consecutive or what's the other word? My brain is missing the word. Not all at once, all at the same time. There's a word for this.
You're asking somebody who seriously.
Oh.
COVID brain, tired,
We're smart people. We're not accessing the prefrontal anything right now. Whether it's consecutive or all at the same time.
Yes.
I cannot, it's above my pay grade. But
everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah. I do believe, we saw that movie last night, don't see it high. So I believe that I'm here in this lifetime and that I chose that I wanted to be female, born when and to whom, in accordance with all the things, planetary alignments, astrological ages, numerology, all of the things that would set me up to have a particular experience, kind of like signing up for college and what classes do you want to take, what life experiences do you want to have, what do you want to learn, and I believe I chose all those things. So I'm wondering, did I look at my parents and decide, all right, I want to be born to them before they have their prefrontal cortexes. I want to be the guinea pig, firstborn, and I want this personality type, and I want to have these experiences, and I want to be the black sheep, and I want to not fit in, and I want this intense roller coaster ride of a lifetime. I don't know, because I hate boredom, and I'm never bored. I don't think 4s, well, we fear boredom, that's for darn sure, so I think we invent this really creative, chaotic life to make sure we are never bored. But anyway, I think I chose this personality, but I also believe I was impacted by the things I experienced in those first formative 7 years of life to become who I am today and all that stuff. And healing for me doesn't change who I am at core. It's sort of like I want to remove the layers of conditioning mud that are encased around me and find the gold that is within all of that, the part that really is me. So for me, the personality typing is a way of showing Who are you at core? What are your compensations? What are the things that are unhealthy, unuseful, that need to be shed? And that's healing work. Being in touch with that internal core and letting go of the things that no longer serve, no longer fit. What do you think?
I try not to. It hurts too much.
Thinking hurts right now?
Thinking hurts right now. I'm still groggy from this morning. It's like, the whole COVID thing has me just like very, very exhausted. Anyway, and I spent the last 2 days working on trying to get an automobile ready to sell. So, trying to take time, while I'm sick, to do other stuff. But anyway, yeah, I'm not sure about the whole personality thing. I don't know, what's inherent in our beingness versus what is brought here from a deeper, more ancient, part of ourselves, whatever that looks like, whether it's just genetic DNA matter or if it's galactic consciousness or universal consciousness. I'm not really sure, and I've had enough odd experiences with both with and without the aid of cannabis to really wonder what constitutes my personality, because I felt both detached from my personality, being able to observe it from kind of a third person state, to also being very immersed in the nuances of my personality. So I don't know. I got nothing. I mean, like I was talking about this morning, it's seeing that spark of life in a baby's eyes, right, and then seeing that same spark of life in a cat's, right, eyes, or the way a spider behaves, or
what constitutes sentience? What when does, I mean,
and does being sentient mean you're conscious?
Well, there's that. Well, okay, so there's consciousness, which, right, I believe is everything, and it permeates everything. It densifies into matter. It permeates all that is. I mean, everything is consciousness in various forms. Some people would say God is everything. I don't care for the word. It's too baggage laden, but if in that sense, everything is God, Godding. Everything, everyone, there is one field. If you look at quantum mechanics, quantum physics, everything is the one thing, the field, and it differentiates into all of these parts. But that, the question of when does life start? If we look at a human life, right now we're having a huge debate within the United States regarding abortion, and it always comes down to when does life start, and no one has adequately answered that question in a unifying way. You've got the religious people saying, well, it begins at conception.
Well, not the religious people. The Christianity is saying
Christianity. You can't even say all of Christianity.
Because it was just this morning that I read a meme by somebody about how the Jewish don't consider right, until actual birth, right, and so it's not about religion.
No, it's not. And I was trying to not specify Christianity. I'm a former Christian, an ex-Christian. I was a Christian for 30 years, and
I just completely screwed your strategy up.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. See, I'm not religious at all.
Right. He's not. He never
I
was.
came from
He was scared.
I came from a family, from a mom who studied at the Church of the UFO, and a dad who was a member of Friends Meeting, so Quaker offshoot. But their primary belief systems tend to center around philosophy and
His
it's the study of multiple theologies and theosophical beliefs. So
he
philosophy.
he was a free-range child and allowed to figure out what
Man, don't ever let your kids do that. They'll turn out like me. That's just messed up. I'm sorry. Yeah, no free ranging for us.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, was captive. Yeah, 30 years in Christianity, all the different flavors. Real deal, y'all. I was, for those who are Christian, I was washed in the blood, accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior at age 15, altered, repentant, confessing, spirit-filled. I was charismatic, evangelical. I became liturgical. I explored orthodoxy, Catholic with a small c, house church, Quaker, denominational, non-denominational, all the things, messianic, because my ex-husband was Jewish. So there's not a part of Christianity that I didn't encounter. And so people try to tell me, well, you didn't really know Jesus. I knew Jesus.
Still do.
I still do. I call him Yeshua because that's what his mama called him. And anyway, I shed Christianity years ago. You can go.
I'm sorry. I'm just envisioning, you from the Southern voice or, the Southern grandmother. Jesus Christ, get your ass in here.
Yeah. There you go.
Sorry, anyway.
Yes, that would have been his grandmother, but okay.
Yeah, whatever, anyway. Sorry.
Where the heck was I with this? I shared my shedding Christianity story. If you go back through the archives, you can find that. There's one about a Kundalini experience that I had. There's one about how I came to see eschatology, the end times. That's all. We can bypass all of that right here, right now. But the whole notion of when life starts is still an ongoing thing for a lot of people. And yes,
right.
Evangelical Christians believe and teach that life begins at conception. And I once believed that because it seemed like the defining thing, right? You have sperm, you have egg, they come together and a new thing happens. But and I birthed 8 children and I miscarried 3 more, so obviously I was pro-life in that sense. And I used to be radically pro-life. I did the March for Life in Washington, D.C. I was politically active. Went to church with Clarence Thomas and Jenny Thomas, and I used to move in different circles. But I wanted to know for myself, when does life begin? When does the soul engage with the body? I wanted to get that. And what was interesting to me, well, I put the question out there, and then I started to notice a number 49. In the Talmud, which is the Jewish traditional, the books around the Torah. The Torah was the initial 5 books of the Pentateuch. The Jewish historical writings written by the rabbis throughout the centuries of the Talmud, the Jewish law was, if a pregnant woman was murdered before the 49th day of gestation, it was a single murder. If she was murdered after the 49th day, that was considered a double murder. That got my attention, right? The 49th day. 49, numerologically and biblically, is the composite of 7 times 7. And 7 means completion and perfection, so 49 is like extra complete, extra perfect. So that got my attention. And then later, when I was studying some near-death experiences and hypnotherapy, past life regressions, where people were regressed and they would go before birth. Over and over in these, you're kind of getting me off screen.
Oh, sorry.
Over and over in the hypnosis, these people would say in that hypnotic state, speaking before birth, that as a soul, they would try out various bodies of fetuses to see which one they wanted. both the body and the life experience and the parenting and all of the things, like which life do I want to have? Which experience do I want to have? And they all said that they settled on a particular body on the 49th day. They would try it out, back off, try that one out, back off, and on the 49th day, they settled. And that caught my attention, 49 again. And then still later, I discovered that scientifically speaking, the cells of a zygote are all the same. Literally, as Planned Parenthood says, a clump of cells. Until the 49th day, when they start to specify and become various organs in different parts of the body. And it goes from zygote to embryo, and then later to fetus. So that 49 number kept getting my attention. And that's, for me, when I've come to a type of conviction that the soul and the body merge on the 49th day in utero. However, the decision regarding abortion, in my mind, really is a soul-level decision. So here we have the soul of the woman and the soul of this potential new life, because it's only potential until it's viable. That soul and this soul are in cahoots, and they alone can decide whether or not this life wants to continue in this life and to be born. Nobody else can decide for those particular souls. Not a doctor, not a politician, not somebody on the internet. Nobody else's opinion matters except for those. And that is my way of seeing this, my way of understanding it. So bodily autonomy, what someone else does with their life is completely up to them. Nobody else really factors in here. And that's how I've come to see it. I would personally not have an abortion. I can't get pregnant now. But if I could, I would personally choose to carry that life. It's what I did before, even when a couple of my children were supposedly at risk before they were born, and I was advised to consider an abortion. I would rather have had the child, even with physical defects, and hold that child and bond with it. But see, that was my choice, and I would not want to rob any other person of their choice. In my mind, forced birth is abusive and not my business, not anyone's business. So there's where I sit on that there topic.
Right.
Your mileage may vary.
Now, what are we doing here? We're at about a half an hour.
Are we?
So how does yeah, you're talking about the soul level experience, and for me, so she's taken on an exploration of life and of soul involvement from an originally Christian kind of perspective, and then it has expanded out over her life as she's explored other modes and other belief systems and her own belief systems. And for me, it's almost a distinctly different beast. We get back to consciousness and how do I explain? It's more difficult right now. Like I said, it's much more difficult right now. Existence is life. I mean, for me, it's about respecting all manifestations of life, of matter, of energy, and saying, okay, so this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. Everything, all experience is valid, and whether it's living a lifetime as a human being or living a lifetime as spider, or whether it's a life ending before it's begun, or whether it's a life that lives, 100 or more years.
And it's all life. It's all valid.
It's all life. It's all valid. Every possibility, every permutation of existence, of reality, is giving the larger consciousness of the universe, or of multi-universes, something to experience.
And
so
you also accept death more so than the average person. You include that as part of life. It's not something to be avoided.
Death is part of an experience. There's nothing.
It's part of life.
It's like going to a concert. It's like, you go in and it's just like getting involved in this great new life, and then the concert ends and you have to leave. You don't stay there in that moment the entire time. So
it's a multitude of deaths throughout life, endings, transitions.
Endings, beginnings, transitions. And so when I think about honoring life, honoring existence, honoring our soul level contracts, honoring our consciousness, I'm looking at the entirety of what our experience is, and going like, okay, this all has to be this way. It's all sacred.
Yeah.
Because it's consciousness experiencing itself in every permutation, so it's all sacred.
So everything is sovereign. Everything has its own sense of authority, and everything is interrelated. Everything is interconnected. A term that we used when we were being trained as shamans is the Kara word Aini, A-Y-N-I, and it means sacred reciprocity. Everything
right relationship.
Right relationship with everything. Everything. And nowhere in that is there the authority of one thing over another thing. Even with parenting, it's not, I'm your authority, I'm in charge of you, little person born after me. It's let me help you discover who you are, and let you be raised up in who you innately are, not how can I conform you to my will. And it's the allowance of everything to be as it is.
Right.
Including the soul that's choosing of its own accord to align with a particular woman's body and live out that life. Ultimately, it has the say. And I think those two souls communicate with each other regarding the viability of that particular lifetime.
Right. Well, yeah, it's all the influences around. It's the influences between the two.
Yeah.
Aini, right relationship isn't necessarily just a happy-go-lucky term either. It's not a term that says, oh, everything's going to be, great, dandy, and happy and perfect. I'm sitting here, listening to Dina talk about this relationship between souls and Aini and right relationship, and I'm looking out the window as I'm videotaping her, looking at the wind blow through the leaves of a tree that's just outside the window, and the wind is blowing and each leaf is moving independently, and it's moving the branch around differently, and other branches are moving in a different way. And right now the wind is making the leaves move all sorts of different ways, and it's creating stress on the branches, and the branches are taking in nourishment and growing in a certain way to be stronger but still flexible, and so that wind is creating a specific kind of growth in the tree, which helps it maintain its life and get stronger and live longer. And then at some point those leaves will fall because some of them may die, and that fertilizes the soil, which then fertilizes the tree again. And so Aini looks like this concept which is much broader. It's this web of reinforcing life that permeates everything. So there really isn't a being in right relationships, understanding that you're in a tenuous relationship with yourself, with your environment, with all things around you, not just one specific way of being.
And everything's transient. everything, whether it's a thought that comes and goes, an emotion that rises and goes down, raising a child and then they leave, and we have a part of us, the ego, that we need to have this independent, autonomous sense of individual self. We need the ego. It's not something to be defamed, but the ego, within its awareness of this separation, wants to hang on to everything. Like, ooh, a happy moment. Let's enshrine it. Let's keep it. And we have to let go. It moves on. Everything moves on, and so it's celebrating moment after moment after moment. Whether the moment is a heavy one or a light one, they're all important. We need the contrast. We need the negative and the positive in order to have this life.
Yeah. So I'm curious then. What's your viewpoint on where personality fits into souls, into lifetimes, into yourself, into people you know, into animals you know, into the world around you, into your version of spirituality? How does personality play a part? Is it a program, an algorithm? Do you get your personality from your astrological signs? Do you get your personality from your Enneagram type, from your Myers-Briggs? Is it part of who you are, your soul, your ego? Is there consciousness there? Is it being unconscious? What's your idea about where your personality comes from?
Are you asking all the humans out
there? Yes, all the humans out there, all the 2, 3, or 4 that will watch this.
All 4 of our fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's all interesting to contemplate, and people who experience near-death experiences and find themselves on the other side of being in a body have reported that they still feel like them. So there's a part of me that really wants to be me through all of these different transitions, all these different lifetimes. There's a part of me that wants to still identify as my core sense of who I am, inside. But I don't know. I don't know how all of that works. But it's certainly fascinating to think about and wonder, and certainly worth celebrating while we're here, whoever we each are, all of our flaws and our fortes, our health and our unhealth, the growth, the stagnant places, the light, the shadow, to be able to explore all of that, to discover what are the different layers of who we are, and to celebrate it, and to really learn to love those parts and gather them up and bring them home to us, feels like a really important and fulfilling aspect of being a human.
Call it a wrap?
I think we should call this a wrap. I think we've done
enough damage for one day
with our COVID brains.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thanks for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this version of Toyo Talk. It was slightly odd to me anyway. So have a great afternoon.
Bye-bye.